I'm not even sure which channel I'm gonna put this on. So I may end up mentioning some things, or people may not know what I'm talking about as far as like certain videos I've made before throughout the years. But I saw this post on, I'm pretty sure, our Vagabond, because I get on there every now and then. And it made me think of something that I've been wanting to make a video about for a while, and kind of have talked about plenty of times before, even way before I ran away myself some years ago. Well, I mean, it was a few years ago. But I'm saying it like it was, I don't know, like 10 or something. But overall, I wanted to talk about how nomadic life, travel life, vagabond life, although I kind of try to like avoid using that term because the whole thing with the vagabond spirit, which really revolves around abandonment, rejection, orphanism, and not having anybody. But all that stuff is really depressing if you really think about it. Like, to be truthfully honest, I personally have never met a nomad or vagabond that wasn't in the life because they've been homeless their whole life and they're a foster kid. They're a dumped out foster kid. They're in the system but don't have anywhere to be at. They grew up in the cash for kids system or other people cash cow systems well into adulthood. They're kicked out, or they had to run away or escape the cash for kids system or higher level trafficking. I've never met a nomad or somebody that's actually like full blown homeless that isn't in any of those situations or hasn't been. It seems like nobody's really out here by choice at the end of the day, and like even the people that do have homes that like are out here traveling every now and then, they're still doing it because they're looking for something and like trying to find a place to belong and something that they don't have and never had. I know for me personally, I've always said that like people, at least when I was like actually like homeless, people have always tried to like make me feel like I was in a bad situation. And like I always say, I don't consider escaping the cash for kids system really being homeless. I don't really see the point of like even falling into the whole homeless or bum term that people throw on you when you're not old enough to get a place and when like you're escaping a certain situation. And while I still have to deal with all those terms and stuff, I didn't really like to like, well, not I didn't, I don't like to like make it seem like I'm just in some horrible, terrible, bad situation that I'm really not in. It's like people, even other homeless people or people who travel often want to like make me feel like, or really make other street kids feel like our situation is terrible, we should be depressed and crying and rolling around on the ground crying. I've even had someone tell me recently, not since I've been where I'm currently at, but recently, tell me many times that I just don't understand how bad the situation is and I'm not depressed yet because I'm still a child, like I'm, I don't know, 3 or something. It's like, I mean, I know the situation, but anyways, I've always said, being outside has always been a coping mechanism for me. I've always liked it. And for me, I don't really see the whole homelessness thing, or supposed homelessness, quote unquote, as the issue. The issue is always really not having a family or anybody or any support system. That's why people end up out here anyways. And like, I don't know. I'm trying to like make a point here, of course. I mean, well, I guess I could say that for some people, living outside really is like an issue for them. They really do want to be in a place. But it's still like, I mean, for some people, which I'm not saying this to like push people's bullcrap philosophies that people don't deserve homes and that you shouldn't help people and all that bullcrap, but it's like some people that get into a place and then things go really, really left because they're still struggling because they don't have any family, they don't have anybody, and they're just sitting looking at white walls. it kind of reminds me of how the only people that like go through a lot of trauma and really seem to like be able to like get somewhere in life are the people that just have cognitive dissonance. They push it to the back of their head, they dissociate from it, or it just automatically becomes like the dissociative amnesia, and they don't remember much of what happened, and they just become materialistic and prideful, and they focus on having the outside appearance of false success, which is materialism, jobs, careers, and a whole bunch of stuff that honestly really doesn't even matter. But the way I've always felt throughout my life is that, one, I've never been materialistic anyway, but I just still felt like none of that stuff would ever matter to me or make me feel better, because the only thing that ever really mattered to me was like love and happiness with people. I don't know if any of this is really coming out right, but like just like making people happy. And I know like a lot of people say that, but I mean literally I already know that if I had a whole bunch of materialistic stuff, which already doesn't mean anything to me, I would just be really depressed. Like I even feel like, what's the point of having houses and cars and money and no one to share it with? It doesn't really make sense to me. It just seems like something else to make, at least me personally, depressed. And I know like it's different for everybody, but I can't think of anything that I could buy that I want or would want. This has always been something for me. It's not like a new thing. I've always been this way. In fact, something that used to be used against me often by my abusers was that I don't want anything and I never asked for anything. Now, of course, I was in a situation where I knew that like I shouldn't ask for stuff because like it would be used against me or thrown up in my face or used to victim blame me. And also I just wouldn't get it for numerous reasons, like even like basic needs. But as far as like materialistic stuff, I just never really cared for any of it. I can't think of anything that I could buy that I want, other than like maybe food sometimes. But due to the iatrogenic metabolic issues I have, I go on cycles of having like serious issues with leptin resistance where I can't stop eating because my body's in like constant starvation mode from not being able to break down food on a cellular level, even with the digestive enzymes and HCl. And then the cycle switches, especially after things happen where like I get sick due to different reasons, where I'm not really hungry for a while. So like for months I can't stop eating and I'm constantly hungry and constantly eating. And then I'm like not hungry for a while, but of course I still like make sure I eat stuff because of the metabolic issues, which are iatrogenic. So it mostly goes back to brain damage, but there's like some other stuff with that. Although I know in Western society, especially like with the U.S. mental illness obsession, if you talk about these types of metabolic issues, and people will try to like convince you that you have some type of eating disorder or something, which I've been meaning to make a video about diets and the risk with people pushing all these diets down people's throats. I know this is irrelevant, but like another video about mitochondrial dysfunction, how to know if you secretly have metabolic issues or something like that. I don't even really remember what I titled it, but I've been trying to make it, but it hasn't been coming out how I really wanted to. It's like I keep screwing it up. But I really want to talk about how, to be truthfully honest, carnivore diet and vegetarian and vegan isn't safe for everybody. It really isn't. If you have issues where you can't digest food or you can't break down food on a cellular level, all those can be equally dangerous. But yeah, so hopefully I'll make that soon. But going back to that post I seen that's in the beginning, it makes me think back to like how people, they don't have family, they've been through a lot, they don't fit in anywhere, different things like that, so they just like fall into this lifestyle, which I mean there's nothing wrong with being outside or staying outside or even traveling, but it's like I've been saying, the reasons that people are in this situation in the first place just isn't the best. Now me personally, ever since I was 5 or 6, I always saw myself staying outside. I always knew I would get better sleep outside than I did indoors, which I did start going through sleep deprivation abuse at 8, but I also realized that I'm honestly really allergic to building chemicals and the mold, and it actually causes serious issues for me that makes it hard for me to fall asleep. Like, one thing I noticed after running is that when I'm outside, I go to sleep so quick. When I'm indoors, I'm up trying to go to sleep till like 5 a.m. and stuff. And that's actually because of building chemicals. But yeah, I always saw myself sleeping better outside, staying outside. I always saw myself like running away right before the world starts to really end and fall downhill, which I mean was definitely very truthful. So I feel like for me I more so like always wanted the outside travel life. I even used to want to be like an archaeologist because I mostly focus on the fact that they traveled a lot more than the fact that they're thieves. And I thought that like I wanted to do that just because of like the whole outside travel thing, but honestly I really don't. But for some people more so, they really just end up out here completely because it was the only option. Then they just started traveling because it's a good way to cope with stuff and run from, or try to run from pain. You really can't, but it's a good way to try to. And then the whole not fitting in thing, not really seeing themselves being able to get in a better situation. I mean, it's really not that easy because there isn't any help unless you get help from like an individual person. Other than that, you pretty much are kind of like stuck out here. But yeah, so I don't know. I've always liked travel life, but I do feel like I've kind of been everywhere now. I haven't seen everything, definitely not. I mean, you never really can, but I haven't even seen half the things I want to see. But I have been to pretty much like every state except for 2, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, now I'm kind of thinking, now what? But still for me, one thing that's always been an issue is like the whole not having a family thing and not having parents. Now, me personally, okay, wait a minute, hold up. I have to say this part. So, I know I've been talking about cognitive dissonance and like codependency and people not leaving their abusers because of cognitive dissonance and because of wanting to act like they have a relationship that they really don't have, and because they want to like cling onto their abusers for a place to stay. But something I've recently thought about for the past few days is that I completely forgot about this one thing. The fact that some people actually like love their parents. And I actually never dealt with that personally. I know like saying dealt with that will sound like bad to certain people who haven't like experienced certain things. So they're going to feel like, oh, that's quote unquote being psychopathic and all these other bullcrap labels that people throw around. But anyways, I personally haven't dealt with that. So I forgot about the fact that another thing that makes people like have issues with leaving terrible situations is because they actually like still love their parents, but I personally never did in the first place. Like, I mean, I talk about how I broke free from the cognitive dissonance and stuff revolving around the Cash for Kids system abuse and other things, but even when I had the cognitive dissonance, I still didn't like love them or have like Stockholm syndrome type stuff going on. So I forgot that like some people actually have that going on. I know like to some people that's a weird way to refer to loving your parents, but quote unquote parents anyways. But I'm just gonna say it how it is. So yeah, I just never had that issue, so I forgot about that. And like I feel like maybe some of the things that I say can be rude to some people because they feel like it's insensitive and maybe victim blame me. I mean, what I'm saying is still true, but I did completely forget about the fact that like it is hard for some people to leave their parents because they love them or leave their family because they love their family. But I already didn't like love my parents because like I knew that like they weren't really my parents. And I kind of talk about this in the whole Why Your Parents Are the Way You Are playlist, which mostly has like 2 videos of mine. And I know one specific video is called There's Zombies or Ghosts Everywhere, something like that. So I never dealt with that. And also like in certain dysfunctional family systems or Jezebelic family systems, people don't like say I love you and stuff like that. And that's how mine was specifically. So yeah, I didn't have that issue. And I don't. like some people are still crying over their parents and stuff, and I've never had that issue. I've even seen posts that say things like going no contact could take years, and I was like, really? I was already no contact when I was staying with them, or staying with relatives, really my sister, because that's who I was staying with last. So it's like yeah, it's just like mind-boggling to me. But I mean, I can get how this could happen, because it's like, even though I haven't felt certain ways or had certain issues before, I can still understand people could like have that issue. And it's like, even in this situation I can, but like I can't feel what other people feel. So I don't know. I can totally identify with like longing for the parents that you don't have or never had, or for me really don't have. But I guess maybe it's like that for everybody. But I've never like dealt with I don't know, missing my quote unquote parents or anything. I even remember a post I seen, this was years ago, way back when I was in support groups, where somebody was like, I used to think that people were just pretending to be sad and fake crying when their relatives died. I didn't actually know that some family systems actually love each other. But yeah, so I don't really know what else to say about that. I don't even remember, why did I start talking about that? I don't know. But yeah, I've been wanting to like talk about that, because I do feel kind of bad, because I feel like maybe I'm like, I don't know, hurting some people's feelings. Not that like what I'm saying isn't what people really have to accept, but I just didn't think about that part, because I forget that like some people actually like love their parents. And I know it's always going to sound weird to certain people, but yeah. What else could I say? Oh yeah, so what I was saying is that post really makes me think about how like people just, they fall into this lifestyle and they get stuck. They don't see anything else. They don't see any other way, because they don't have anyone really, and they're hurting, and then they just end up like dying in the situation in ways that really don't have to happen. And like I said, you know, I'm not trying to be rude to the people that this happened to, of course. I'm not trying to like bash anybody. I don't know them anyways. I'm really just like speaking in general, but that situation is a good example of how these situations play out in the end, or at least one way they play out in the end. Because of course, abused kids who are living with their parents, or who are like street kids, commonly fall into the cycle of getting with chomos. Honestly, a lot of people fall into the cycle of like getting in relationships with people who are way too old for them, and there's like power dynamics and manipulation, or just bad relationships in general. And it's like they can go down that path, which leads to a lot of bad situations in the end, maybe even them getting unalived by the person. It's like a lot of ways that this could all go wrong. But overall, the issue is that family's dead, family's been dead. There isn't really a community anywhere. And people are always talking about communities, and in the U.S. there's, of course, always this racial mind games that go on. People are talking about black community, white community bull crap. But what I always say is that I don't see a community anywhere for jack diddly. Like, I really don't. There's a lot I could say about that. People are always talking about communities, and it's like these communities only exist in like, I guess maybe in small demographics, or like in people's heads. I don't know, but I haven't seen them, and I can't lie. And then one of the things is that when you're not in a situation that's socially acceptable, or you're like living a, I don't know, non-traditional lifestyle, people see you a certain way. They have like certain views on you. They don't really want you around. Like for me personally, if I was, I don't know, go to one of these said communities that people claim exist in person, or maybe like, I don't know, some online group, first people would ask me, well, where your parents are, where's your family at? And then there's like this narrative that people in certain situations burned all their bridges, and that's why they're in the situation they're in. And it's like, most of us never had a bridge to begin with. Like, what bridge does a 7-year-old, I don't know. I don't even know. I could really keep going. I mean, even like people in their, at any age really, because it's like a lot of people in these societally unacceptable situations or lifestyles have been in different situations where they've just been pretty much isolated, only allowed around an abuser, smear campaigned, or even like I talk about in the, what is it called, racial autism, PDs, whatever in the world video, like the most recent one, because I still haven't done like the last part, the part 5 or 4 or whatever, but even there I talk about like issues that me and even my parents have had with like not being good at relationships due to like the trauma and the different things like that. Although I feel like I'm really just not that friendly either. I mean, of course I don't run around like arguing with people and fighting people. I don't really see a reason to fall into stupid stuff like that, but it's like I'm just not the happy-go-lucky, not even happy-go-lucky, that wasn't happy-go-lucky, the codependent person that was trying to be buddy-buddy, unpaid emotional therapist with people that I used to be, which honestly did nothing but make things really, really bad and get rumors spread, but I used to do that often. But of course, like I said, at like, what was it, 2020 is when I really just decided to stop talking to people and like delete social medias, block everybody, and cut people off. A whole bunch of people that didn't like me anyways, really. And yeah, so I used to be like the usual codependent, unpaid therapist person, but I'm not that anymore. And it's like, once you're not that anymore, people consider you rude and mean and paranoid and stuff. And I just realized none of that stuff is really worth it. A lot of things are too superficial. I mean, I had been realized that, like I've said before in plenty of videos, I've been trying to figure out how to leave people alone and stop having limerence obsessions and just being desperate and lonely since like 10, because it didn't really do anything good for me and just made a lot of things worse. And I always say the one thing my dad said to me that I really could use that was actually helpful was when I was always getting in trouble for sexually acting out, and he was like, just leave people the F alone. And honestly, he was right. I needed to leave people the F alone, and that meant everybody, including him, and just for a lot of different reasons. But it's like also, I just don't want to put myself in any more bad situations with people. And what else was it? Because I was talking about the whole, oh yeah, not having a bridge. And it's like, I've been in too many isolated situations. I'm never around people my age, even still now. So it's like, I mean, I don't really have the situation to form a bridge, but it's like, I mean, even if I was around people my age, what bridge could they have? Like, what could they really do for any of the problems that I have? And it's like, I've been feeling for years that there's not really anything that anybody could do to like answer the questions I have or help me with any of the problems I have. It's like, I mean, commonly when I ask some of the questions that I have about life in general, they're not things that people could answer. They're not things that any human could answer. They're just, I don't even know. It's like, they're just weird questions that I don't think I could ever like get any answers for, maybe unless I like died and went to heaven. Because it's like, I have a lot of weird questions that I don't really feel like anyone could help with. Not weird, like, well, let me not even go there, because I guess, I don't know, it's just like I've always felt like nobody can really help someone with too much of anything, especially not certain things, but especially in like the last, I don't know, over 5 years, maybe like, I don't know, 7 or something. I've just felt like, especially the things that I need help with the most, only I could help myself with. I'm having acid reflux and stuff. I don't really feel like there's anything anyone can do about the things that I really need help with. So yeah, it's like, a lot of people never had a bridge. A bridge is hard to form. Like, I really just hate it. It's really just like that whole people burn their bridges saying. It's just the way to accuse people of stuff who are in situations that you don't like, that you feel like could have been avoidable. And I know especially people say that for homeless people, but it's like I always say, most people first become homeless by themselves somewhere from age 7 to 16. What bridge do they have? It's like, does a bridge really exist ever, really? Like, I don't even get what that means. It's like, especially with the stuff that's going on in Babylon Falling, a lot of people don't necessarily have, I don't know, at least the material things to, help people with certain stuff. Although I never really cared for any of that. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like, since I'm pretty detached, I don't know, if any of the things that I really needed were to, I don't know, ever happen, if I'm even saying any of this right, I don't know if it will, really help much anymore. I don't know if any of this is making sense. It'll make sense to somebody, though, but, yeah. It's like, when people are trapped in certain situations, they're just destined to die in it, pretty much. I guess that's, the overall point. And I'm gonna title this, Nomadic Life is Depressing. I don't really know what else to say. And, for me personally, I don't even hang around. Well, honestly, I've been by myself pretty much for, most of my life, or my whole life. But I personally don't hang around other people that, do the nomadic life. One, I don't know. What I learned in my previous, wait a minute, hold up. What I learned from when I used to be buddy-buddy with everybody is that, to be truthfully honest, I was really settling for people that I have, okay, wait a minute. No, let me start over again. I was settling for people that I have nothing in common with, can't have a conversation with. Dang, are these roaches? Oh, man. That's one thing I forgot about when coming back to visit the South, is all the bugs they have here. But back to what I was saying, though. I was settling pretty much, to make a long story short, because I don't remember what I last said. And it's I was settling for things that I really shouldn't have. And to a certain extent, it kind of seems like relationships commonly are settling for things that aren't good and are very dangerous. And then it's when you talk about this stuff, people say, oh, well, you don't want to take accountability, and you just feel like you're better than everybody else. But it's shoot, should I have to feel like I'm better than everybody else to not want to be in a situation getting, I don't know, beat on and stuff? But yeah, I feel like it's a lot of settling, and especially with talking or befriending other people who are in more nomadic lifestyles, or people who are actually homeless. Or, well, no, I wouldn't even say that, because there's a lot of stereotypes with that. I would say maybe West Coast homeless. They're really just, especially some of the nomadic people, certain ones anyways. It's kind of risky, because it's one, they're most likely going to be way older than I am. And actually, I noticed something, which I think this is why certain people or certain street kids will get with the chomo nomads, because sometimes they do have less issues than the homeless kids. Sometimes. Dang, wait a minute, there's so many bugs around here. Sometimes they do. But it depends. But it's sometimes they're just into a lot of stuff that I'm not. A lot of drug stuff with some of them. The predatory stuff. And overall, I'm just not the buddy-buddy person I used to be. I really just can't do any and everything with any and everybody. Honestly, I never really did like it. And I did it a lot when I was I don't know, 8 to 12 or whatever. Especially in my previous situation, because I don't know, I guess I was just desperate and lonely. Well, not I don't know. I do. and codependent, but I really can't go for any of that stuff anymore. To be truthfully honest, I feel like I get mad too easily now to even put up with half the stuff that I used to. Like, I could not. So, I feel like, well, of course isolation isn't good and it doesn't lead to anything good mentally or physically. It's like, sometimes it's really the only option. Because it's like, other than that, you're just throwing yourself into bullcrap situations. And when people feel, I don't know, I guess kind of what I was saying earlier, it's just like, people feel some type of way about people in certain situations. And I feel like, if you're a street kid, you're always going to have an alibi and a lot of different, I don't know, reasons behind a lot of things. Because, one, a lot of people demand to know your life story. I already have videos about that. Anybody that's like demanding to know your life story and who you are and about your family and stuff, they're a let me help you lunatic. They're probably 911 happy, and overall they're going to be toxic and abusive. But still, it's like, if you just like have a life story or a situation that people don't like and that makes them have to see a reality of the world that they don't want to admit happens every single day, all day, to thousands and millions of people, they're going to feel some type of way about you. Kind of like what I mentioned in one video with the racist brainwashed Mexicans that wanted me to work in their food truck, but really they wanted me to be an unpaid or halfway paid babysitter. And then they started making up stories in my head about how, I don't know, I supposedly got kicked out for being pregnant. I don't even think I look like I can get pregnant or carry a baby. And like, it's just a lot of stuff with that. But I don't even remember which video that was. Maybe that was like the more recent one about, was it the coroner's message, or was it what was that titled? Candace Owens, kids are terrifying these days, whatever in the world. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like that's a big thing with immigrants, though, because they get fed this American dream stuff, and then they come over here expecting things, and it's like, they treat street kids really, really badly, because in their mind, oh, you're an American, and you're just being lazy, or you're just the, quote-unquote, lazy black person, or angry black woman, and bullcrap like that. Immigrants especially, they talk a lot of junk to street kids, because they feel like there's like something we could do, or some program we can run to that really doesn't exist. And for me personally, I just honestly am pretty much just traveling right now, off and on sometimes. But for the people that like are full-blown homeless, like those street kids, I just feel like, I don't know, the immigrants' rhetoric and the lies they believe is just annoying. That's all I can really say about that. They're honestly a good example for this. Like, if your situation doesn't match what they feel like America is, then you're lying or you're lazy. And it's like, people, like street kids are literally hiding and running every day to avoid police and not be thrown in trafficking organizations and jailed and charged and sent back to bad situations. And like I said before in another video, just because you can like sneak across the border, you were lucky enough to be able to sneak across the border and not end up in some trafficking organization by the U.S. government or somebody else, and somehow get a job at 13 and rent a place at 14. Okay, wait a minute, hold up. I was saying that other people don't have that option, and that's actually not even legal. And then another example is when your situation doesn't match what like people want it to be. I don't know, this is not coming out how I want it to, but it's like they feel like you did something to somebody. Or another common thing, if you're a street kid, whether you're a boy or a girl, people feel like you're a prostitute or you sell drugs or both, which I've talked about this before too, which goes into the whole you're pretty, you're a prostitute thing that I talk about really often. Because for whatever reason, if you're not letting yourself go, you're either a prostitute or you're quote-unquote faking it. then that's also a big thing, especially for like the people who are still lying to themselves about street kids in the U.S. and youth homelessness, or like just people's different situations where homeless kids will commonly be accused of faking it. And of course this happens everywhere. Like in India, they'll even claim that like the reason that they don't help beggar kids is because they're faking it, or some adult is trying to like use them to get money from people and pull on sympathy. I've even seen a comment where someone was talking about how like they don't give money to Indian street kids because it's fake, and some of them are kidnapped and forced to beg. And it's like, well, to me, saying that somebody's a kidnapping victim doesn't make the situation and people not helping sound any better. This is an issue everywhere, but of course, like, the thing with the U.S. is that they pretend that things don't go when they do, and that's what gets to a lot of people. Not that the issues don't happen everywhere, although, like, there's a lot of stuff here that's definitely worse in other places, especially, like, I'd say in European countries especially, but, I don't know, especially the West. But anywho, back to the point, people feel like you did something to somebody to like make them mad at you or not like you, and like especially before the term scapegoating became really big and popular and known, there was this thing that people used to say all the time, and of course plenty of people still do say, but it used to be way worse. And they'd be like, if everybody in your family hates you, or if everybody is saying you're the problem, or if everybody's mad at you, then you must be the problem, and different things like that. And like honestly, that could mean a lot of different things. So it kind of reminds me of like how a lot of people are seemingly going into paranoia, which I mean, just because people are, wait a minute, hold up. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean people aren't after you. That's a quote from somewhere, but, or maybe you're really not. But I do feel like, due to a lot of things, some people are becoming paranoid, and it's like, there's also the fact that like when you have certain generational curses or spirits attached to you, you're gonna commonly run into like certain situations over and over again in different people. That's a big thing with familiar spirits. But I will say though, I feel like the only thing that's really helped with a lot of things is staying outside and being to myself and not talking to anybody at all, period. And I know that people will like say that it's not good, and honestly it's really not, but it's like, I mean, shoot, I don't really want to be in any more situations. I used to say pretty often that I don't want to hurt anybody or hurt anyone else. And sometimes I feel like if I've like been through all the things that I have throughout my life, how would I really know that I'm not like gonna become an abuser myself, or maybe that I don't have abuser tendencies? That's something I've worried about a lot, but I don't know. I feel like, honestly, at the end of the day, as long as I'm, like, not around anyone, I guess it doesn't really matter. And I mean, sure, it leads to insanity in the end, but it's like, sometimes, like I was saying in the Weapons or the New World Order video, it's like, how avoidable is insanity really? How avoidable are personality disorders really? With the spiritual and physical side to all of it, I mean, personality disorders, quote unquote, because I don't really believe in that stuff, but it's pretty much like the way of the world, to be honest. I mean, we live in a Jezebelic society. I just don't really, I don't know. It's like people are always talking about help and resources, and it's like none of that stuff would help with anything that, like, I really see as issues. Like, some people, when they run away or get kicked out, they feel like they just need, like, a place, or, like, when they get a place at 18, which, honestly, that's not realistic, but, I mean, some people can do it. But, anywho, to get back to the point, they feel like they just need, like, a house and materialistic things, and I'm lucky enough to have always known that none of that stuff would ever mean jack to me. And I know that, like, a lot of people feel like they would feel better if they like had money because they'd be able to afford things. I personally, I don't know. I don't really care about any of that. Honestly, I would say I've done a good job throughout the years of finding ways to get by without money, which, I mean, that's what most runaways especially have had to do throughout the years. Like, Like that one girl I mentioned often that learned to forage. You kind of have to do that because technically going to try to get resources or quote unquote resources or anything could put you at risk of being thrown in jail or worse. But I don't know. It's like none of that stuff really matters, and like some of it didn't matter. I gotta make sure there aren't like bugs crawling on my stuff, which I forgot about. But another thing that I wanted to add in that I thought about a couple of days ago when I was talking to like some squirrels in my sleep, which I know is weird. I don't really know how it started happening, but I was talking to some squirrels in my sleep. Not like out loud, but like in my head, which honestly, I don't know, it's just weird. But when it was happening, I started to think about like how I don't know, I've just been like detached due to different things. And I was, of course, made to feel like throughout my life that I was subhuman or not human at all. Which you're commonly going to go through things like that if you're anointed or prophetic. And, of course, in the cast for kids system and being scapegoated. But I was made to feel like that often. So I've been didn't see myself as like a person. But I noticed that like the way I feel when I look at other people, I just feel like they're people, but I'm not. So I feel like, I don't know, a tree looking at a person, or maybe like, I don't know, a bird looking at a person, but I don't feel like I'm a person looking at another person. And then there was something else that I'm forgetting. I don't remember what it was. I don't know, I just feel like a lot of stuff isn't real. And like I remember I used to have this video on the abuse evidence channels of like this boy. Well, I had videos about it, not of it, but there was a whole situation, long story, when I was in the Jim Crow self-confined placement where this boy who was one of the quote-unquote normal kids came up to me and he told me, well, no, a lot of stuff went down. I don't remember how the situation really got to the point of the conversation that it did, but he told me about how his dad was a diagnosed narcissist, a whole bunch of other stuff. Honestly, he was pretty mean himself, but that's kind of whatever. And then I was talking about how like love isn't real, and he was like, you have mommy daddy issues, and if you keep thinking like that, you're gonna end up killing yourself. And it's like, honestly, I don't really know about that. I feel like I don't know, I feel like there's a lot I could say about that. I just feel like, I mean, love is real, but things are just too superficial these days. And due to the situations I've been in, things have been pretty superficial for me and other people who I know who were in the cast for kids system or other situations. And I mean, it's real, but it's not enough of it. It's definitely not enough real love. And it's like, kind of like I said in the video back in 2022. No one of any age or gender really seemed to want me around unless they thought I was gonna like have sex with them or just take advantage of me in some way, form, or fashion. And people are like always talking about like the predators, but I mean, we live in a hypersexual society where people are literally raised to be sexual predators. So I feel like some of it was karma due to like issues I had when I was like 3 to 11 especially. But anyways, it just seemed like girls, boys, men, and women all just like wanted to use me for something. And that was already way past the point where I had pretty much stopped talking to people and let go of the friend bull crap and stopped calling people friends. I even wanted to make a video about what I was calling my Riri moment, where pretty much this boy had lied to me about his age for like a couple of years. And he was actually, supposedly at least, way younger than he was telling me he was. And I was already way past the friend point. I was just calling him like an associate, but it's like, dang.